Hi 102 students, so here's the critical analysis essay PowerPoint that I promised I would share in my announcement. This last essay you're going to be working on combines critical reading with critical writing. And please remember that I'm going to post this PowerPoint to Blackboard in Unit 4, and when you click on these links, you have to be in presentation mode. There's a really good YouTube video about analysis and how it differs from summary, and a little bit how it differs from response that we just wrote, and I will post a link to the YouTube video also separately. So what is critical analysis? Well, critical analysis is looking at a piece of writing, and many of you have picked Camping for Their Lives. Some are doing Robot Invasion. I think one of you is doing Reporting the News, and someone else is doing the Consumer Genome. No matter what reading you're doing, you are analyzing the work. So your introduction should state the title of the work, the author's name, and the date. And I will be giving in one of my later slides information about the dates of the articles. You want to highlight the main idea of the work or the author's thesis in it, but then state your own main idea. And there's going to be a sample of an introduction that I will show you to give you an idea of what we're looking for in this essay. One example would be the article 2 Years or Four, written by John Smith, is a well-structured article because, and then you're going to state why, based on what you want to analyze. Think of this unit as a culmination of everything we've done. Are you going to be looking at the tone, at the relevancy of the information, the facts in it? Was it biased? Was there opinion? What were some of the connotations, similes? So you can see where we're going with. We're looking at everything we've learned and putting it into this essay. Your second paragraph, as always, is a summary paragraph for your essay. It should be short, 8 to 10 sentences with no details, no quotes, no use of first person. Just the gist of the article. And I know I don't need to remind you because this is about the 158th summary you've written for this class. But again, there's a link to information about writing a summary. In terms of the analysis, I want you to think about what is significant about the article. What do you think stood out to you? Was it the way the author reported on something that many people would know about? Was there information included that showed two sides? Was the author trying to give a warning about things that are to come based on technology or based on maybe the economy? And you want to decide if that evidence that the author presented is accurate, relevant, and complete. So kind of like we did in response, but not with a first person slant to it. And again, examples are coming to help you through this. Your body paragraphs, which should be a minimum of 2. So after your introduction paragraph and your summary paragraph, you should have at least 2 body paragraphs. Now, this is an 800 to 1,000 word essay. You might want to have 3 body paragraphs. And if you look at what we're asking you to focus on, things such as tone or purpose, vocabulary, fallacies, you could make each of these a paragraph, or you could say the author's tone, based on the vocabulary used, appealed to a certain audience. Or the emotional appeal or inferences made with the structure. You can take any of this information here and focus your essay around those ideas. And then finally will be your conclusion paragraph, restating your thesis, summarizing your main ideas from your essay, and then maybe including, especially in this one, since it's analysis and you may be analyzing something that somebody else hasn't read before, or you may be analyzing a topic and they've read other articles on it. Was this article something other people should read? What types of people would benefit from reading this article? Should no one ever read it? Is it an article that really holds no merit? Those are the things we're looking for in analysis. And here are the citations you're going to use throughout your article. I know there's other videos on our Blackboard page which show you examples. Well, why we want you to cite is we're getting you ready for English 102, which is composition. So you'll be using more than one article in a research paper. You might be using 4 or 5. We always use the author's last name and the year. So if you read the article by Bransford, that article's from 2009. If you read the ones by Edwards, Wattenberg, and Linebury, that would be your Reporting the News 2009. And remember, there's 3 authors, not just one. Gillis is 2012 and Singer is 2012. And this is kind of preparing us for this APA style idea. Remember, this essay does not use first or second person. So first person is I, me, we, us, our. And second person is you. I do not want to see that in this article. I want it to be an analysis in third person. You should include a reference page, and I know that there are samples on Blackboard for you to do this. Times New Roman and make the essay double-spaced. So what are some examples I'm looking for essays? Maybe you're going to focus on patterns of organization, and that's one thing that we talked about this semester, and how this ties in with the information being relevant or accurate. So maybe you're going to talk about compare and contrast method of writing, and then you're going to elaborate. So you're going to give me an example of what the author did, maybe something from the text that's an example of the compare and contrast mode, and then elaborate on it in your analysis. Maybe you're going to talk about the connotations that were provided, how they were positive, and they helped the author argue his point. Maybe they didn't help the author at all. Maybe they were too negative. And you're going to cite an example from the text, and then you're going to elaborate on your analysis. Maybe you're going to look at how the author's style was descriptive and his tone was straightforward. So maybe your paragraph will focus on tone and the way the author described things in his articles. Some more examples. Again, cause and effect. If that's one pattern of organization you found and you felt it helped the article in some way. Maybe the author's effectiveness is boosted by his writing style and word connotations. Maybe he doesn't use a lot of jargon, or on the other hand, maybe he uses a lot of jargon or she uses a lot of jargon and you felt that this was not as beneficial to the article as it could be. So here's one example from Camping for Their Lives by Scott Bransford. Notice one of the students wrote Scott Bransford is an independent journalist. So they did a little bit of research on the author to see how his effectiveness in writing this order came to play. It really spoke to his credibility. Bransford reminds the reader that informal urbanism, that's one term in the reading that I thought was very interesting. Is he using a connotation there? Is he trying to use a euphemism to kind of put a different spin on where the people live? Then maybe you're going to look at some of the statements that strengthen some of the concepts he wrote. Or you might focus on Dignity Village and what his tone was when he described Dignity Village. And that's what the analysis essay is going to be. Analyzing your specific article, looking at the overall message being said and how the author delivered that message in order to make for a cohesive and a clear analysis of the article. I hope this helped, and as always, any questions, please send me an email. Thank you.